Ridley me this. Will the New England Patriots ever land a true number one wide receiver? The Patriots signed a first 3-round draft pick for the first time in over a decade. You must be joshing me. And at his pro day, a prospect who only throws slants. I think we may just have to nix that idea. There you go, folks. There's your hot, puntastic intro to tonight's Six Rings and Football Things live across the WEEI socials here with @Mike Kadlick and your old pal @Fitzy GFY. We are reacting live to day 2 of free agency 2024. And Mike, the crazy thing is, it's still technically and or legally not free agency. This is only still the legal tampering portion of free agency 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I frequently am. Doesn't free agency begin at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 13th?
You are correct, Fitzy. Yes, tomorrow at 4 p.m. things can officially happen, but for now, like you said, it's only legal tampering. So a lot of fun to still be had. Obviously, we're only a day and a half into this thing. I still can't get it. I do pods with you. I do pods with Andy, and I can't get away from the dad jokes. You're talking about Knicks. He's making dad jokes yesterday. It's all over the place. But no, let's.
Well, I was thinking like on my.
We're here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. On my ride back here today, I was coming back from at my kid at gymnastics, and I was like, all right, I gotta we can't just do like, hey everybody, it's Six Rings of Football things. Yeah. Like I gotta do something very Mike Greenberg-esque, because the Greenberg teases are like the stuff of legend.
Oh yeah.
In the sports
with the
broadcast
get up noise
industry.
In the background. It's like do. Yeah. Oh yeah. I gotcha.
You're watching Get Up on ESPN. Hey, you never know if the Patriots decide to take a quarterback from Oregon in the draft and surprise everybody. We could be doing Knicks rings and football things. Okay, I'm done. That's it. I promise.
Please.
All right. So first things first, biggest takeaway from day 2 free agency 2024, a day that saw the Patriots stay the course. We heard from multiple sources. Elliott Wolf and the Patriots were hardlining, driving hard bargains, standing their ground and not giving in to the demands of agents, managers, and players who were looking for big paydays. It was relatively quiet, but still just enough action to keep the Foxborough faithful excited.
Biggest takeaway, I am going to say that they're still in the market for Calvin Ridley. I think that's big news. I know they might swing big and they might miss, but I think it is a positive to still hear them connected to him. I know people will say, well, they're just going to get outbid and they're not going to spend and yada, 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 all that stuff. And I get that. And because that's been a thing around here in the past. But for them to be at the finish line with Ridley, there we go, Ridley's agent. But no, seriously, for him to be at the finish line alongside the Jaguars, I think is a good thing because, he apparently, according to Schefter, at least, he wants to go back to Jacksonville, but they're still listening to New England. That's probably just a money move. And, if he gets more money here, he's probably going to come here. We'll see what happens. But what is this? This team needs to make an actual impact.
That's our pal Gabe Patz, a witty Patriots fan. If ever there were, saying the team needs to this is the big thing now. 2 days in, I think there's starting to be a vibe from some fans that the Pats need to make an external grab, because it's been a lot of Belichick guys, and people are like, oh, so much for, tough day for the Belichick can't draft crew. And thank goodness people like our pal Matt Sill, nope, time to freak out. The season's already over. It's the end of legal tampering. I know. I got you.
So here's one way to look at that in the external, the external market. One of the biggest signings I think they made was actually last night, and it was after me and Andy came off the live show. So if you're returning, we haven't touched on it yet on the Six Rings feed, and it's Jacoby Brissett. Like, I love the signing of Jacoby Brissett, especially after seeing the money that Gardner Minshew went for earlier in the day. It was like
which was a borderline criminal. And that's in a state. Right. Once again, this is something that people don't make as big an issue over, and we'll get to this momentarily with the talented Mr. Ridley. But
yeah,
these states that don't have income tax, a 2-year, $25 million deal with $15 million guaranteed for the Mississippi Mudflap in Nevada with the Raiders, like. That's big money. Like, that's a couple extra $1 million in your pocket.
And that's definitely what I thought Brissett would end up going for, similar money. They were sort of grouped together in the quarterback rankings of free agency as the two bridge guys. And that's a good one. And for them to get Jacoby for 1 year, $8 million as your bridge quarterback, I think is huge. He's a guy who knows how to command a room. He's a guy who I think is going to understand his place here. I think that's going to be clearly or that was clearly communicated to him that, look, we're probably going to take a guy with the number 3 overall pick. You're going to be our bridge quarterback, and you're going to be our, our professional in the room. And clearly he wants to do that because he signed the deal for $8 million. And so I think that's a positive. And if you want to look at it one way, it's that, yeah, Jacoby Brissett's not going to be your long-term answer at quarterback, but they're in this for the long haul. They're in this for a good rebuild to go get a rookie at number 3. So I think that's probably the biggest positive external signing so far the Patriots have made.
And listen, I was saying this last night while I was on the Rich Keefe show, while you guys were doing last night's day one live reaction pod here at Six Rings. My biggest want and wish right now here in free agency and then ultimately into the draft is I need you, the Patriots, give the fans hope that a 9-8 season on the way towards this long-term rebuild is possible. So I don't want you to go out and make crazy drunken sailor,
right,
uncharacteristically aggressive shopping spree style signings, but I need them to address all of the issues they had last year. And also to remember, I know this is probably me steering back into the Foxborough fanboy lane, which you're probably much more comfortable with, but this team, if you return Matthew Judon, if you get a full healthy Jonathan Jones, I know he gets banged up a lot. You get Marcus Jones back, you get Christian Gonzalez back. There's reason to think, and also addition by subtraction. I'm sure you guys addressed Devontae Parker leaving. Now he has signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Goodbye, good riddance, and enjoy hanging out with your pal Matt Patricia. Get it, wit and whiz, buddy. Like the Patriots should already be. And then if you don't have Mac Jones throwing picks, and you don't have any of the internal drama and dysfunction that plagued the team the last 2 years, there's every reason to think that they should be able to take baby steps forward. A couple of those one-score games, like a 6-0 loss in the rain to the Chargers, can actually be something that falls in their favor, that it doesn't go off Juju's hands and into the Commanders, at the end of the game. Like, I think the team is already making strides, retaining Packers style, their better free agents, and getting pieces that they needed, a la Antonio Gibson, something that hasn't been addressed in 3 years since James White last was healthy on a football field in September 2021. I like the way things are going right now. And I also like Jacoby Brissett coming back. Like you said, steady presence, adult in the room, grown man, commands the room, experience, been there, done that. Plus, there might be a few people that still have one of his jerseys hanging around in their fan cave. But let me ask you this. So today, the Commanders sign Marcus Mariota, one of the 3 quarterbacks from the quarterback Netflix series, to a 1-year, $6 million deal. There was a massive football nationwide presumption that means he's going to be there since he's mobile to be the bridge to Jaden Daniels, and Brissett is the bridge to May. Yet I had people in my timeline saying, no, it could very well be the opposite. So what do you think of that with Brissett and Mariota going respectively to the Patriots and the Commanders?
I think Mariota going to Washington, that tells me they're going to go Jaden Daniels 100%. A similar skill set, can run, can make moves with his feet. Drake May is an athlete, sure, but Jaden Daniels is more of an athlete, and Jacoby Brissett is definitely not. He's definitely a statue, but I think that that correlation, if you will, makes a lot more sense because Cliff Kingsbury, they're gonna implement an offense. He had a guy like Caleb Williams who can also make plays a little bit with his legs. Again, he's not lightning fast, but now they go to Washington, implement their system with Marcus Mariota in the fold. And then eventually, again, like you said, they can hand it over to Jaden Daniels. So, yeah, that tells me that they're eyeing Daniels. And again, it's early, right? It's March 12th. The draft isn't for another month and a half. So it kind of gives them options. I wouldn't throw out Drake May if I was them just because they have Marcus Mariota in the building. Obviously, if you end up finishing your draft process and you have May graded over him, you go with Drake May. And again, he can make those plays with his legs too. But as of right now, as of March 12th, that tells me that they're leaning Jaden Daniels.
Sports Unlimited, currently watching live on YouTube here on the Six Rings and Football Things Day 2 reaction podcast. I can't wait until Mac gets his chance and he balls out so all the haters get a big old piece of humble pie, courtesy of Mac effing Jones, baby. Good to see Mac Jones's dad has joined the chat. Thank you very much, Sports Unlimited. No, I just want to say for the record, this has been talked about ad nauseum through the weekend and into the early part of the week, so much so, with so much free agency action, that now Mac Jones is almost an afterthought, which is crazy to think. 3 years ago, he was the hope under center. He was the franchise. He was the next chapter in the Patriots' legacy, and now he's an afterthought, discarded for a late day 3 pick. I too hope he gets a chance to show himself, to redeem his on-field presence, the paycheck one day, his own attitude as well. Sometimes people, that's why I think Russell Wilson will probably be a perfect project for Mike Tomlin. He's been through a humbling. His stock couldn't be any lower. Go someplace where someone will help you redeem yourself and reestablish your football legacy. I think Mac is, see, here's another one. Yep, there we go. More people. As long as the Patriots get better, who cares? See, that's the attitude. There you go. Don't wish Mac ill, oh, you screwed our team. Okay, bad quarterback play, as we've seen, Mike, sets a franchise back. And that's why nailing the quarterback coming up here is going to be so integral for the Wolf of Ball Street, Highsmith and Company.
And I'm always going to have a soft spot for Mac. And, it could be biased. It could be my fan speaking, but like, you need to surround your quarterback with talent, and you need to surround your quarterback with coaching. And the Patriots did neither of that with Mac, and that screwed him up. And it screwed up a guy who I think everybody kind of knew that he was going to thrive with, talent around him and the ability to use his head and make plays, right? Or not make plays, but, use his head and command an offense, right? They didn't allow him to do that here. And so, you have to feel for a guy when, he gets completely basically screwed like that. And I think he did. And, his play deteriorated himself, and it didn't make it any better. He didn't make it any better on himself down the stretch. Like, there's no denying that. And he'd probably say that himself. But you're right. Like, you got to root for the guy. There's no really reason for you to not root for the guy. And so, yeah, I hope Mac, and again, do I think he's going to start over Trevor Lawrence at some point this year? No, I don't. But could he turn himself into Sam Darnold, who now all of a sudden looks like he's going to be a bridge quarterback in Minnesota? Yeah, I can see that happening for Mac one day. So we'll see how it goes. I wish him well.
I can't believe that Minnesota didn't want to take a flyer with a 6th-round pick on Mac Jones and then bring in Darnold and just have the underperforming, 6'2", Caucasian quarterback off between Darnold and, everybody else there. The Allen kid from BYU, they have Mac Jones, whatever. Like that would have been, I think that would have made a lot of sense. Though I can see why back to Jacksonville, working with, like we talked about Sunday on the radio, working with Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
And also, I think you made the best point of all. Mac needs to sit this year. Just don't press. Don't rush back into the huddle. Watch, learn, observe, and hit the reset button in the back of the Nintendo or the gaming system.
Yep.
For sure. All right. So the big one today is obviously Calvin Ridley. There were reports and tweets and social media messages and way too much TV time dedicated to a wide receiver 1/2 who only came back into the league last year after he caught a case of the parlays and fixed that when he got a chance to sit his ass down for a year. He could maybe be, he is quick out of his routes. He's a good route runner. Last year, 76 catches, over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Solid season. Now they have a good backup quarterback for Trevor Lawrence, who did get dinged up a lot in the second half of last year's season. That saw Jacksonville at 8-3 and then finished 9-8. He probably is going to get overpaid, but I think the way this is being played out now, Mike, is clear as day. He wants to re-sign with Jacksonville. He's already there, probably likes the weather, knows the quarterback is more stable, doesn't want to come up, dude, Brissett followed by May and everything else.
Right.
Sideways rain in November up in New England. Easier life, less pressure in Jacksonville. And for anyone who's watching live right now or listening to the podcast after our live broadcast Tuesday night, if Calvin Ridley signs after 4:01 p.m. on Wednesday, it only costs a compensatory 3rd-round pick from Jacksonville back to the Falcons. That's what's going on right now.
100%. I'm with you. At least on that front, right? Maybe the Patriots come in at the 12th hour on Wednesday and beat the offer enough where he stays. But I think you're right. The Ridley camp is not going to sign and agree to anything until, again, that 4:00 window, because of the fact that Jacksonville can do that. And I think, again, that helps out Ridley, that, helps him wait out his market. And it obviously helps out the team that he'll end up going to in Jacksonville if they don't have to waste a 2nd-round pick. So, that's what makes the most sense to me. And I think you're right. That seems fairly obvious right now. And it's funny. You're right, Fitzy, because, you're talking about how all of a sudden all the media coverage and all the TV time is dedicated to Calvin Ridley, where this wide receiver market, it kind of cratered itself this year. Calvin Ridley's the guy we're talking about. And, don't get me wrong. I like Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and I probably would pay him because you need wide receivers in this league, but there's probably going to be other options out there if they don't land Ridley. And a lot of people are going to say the Patriots cheaped out. And I get it. I said it earlier, I get the attitude. But, T. Higgins is going to be potentially on the market as a trade option. Brandon Ayuk, they're not going to be able to sign both him and Debo in San Francisco to long-term deals. So there's going to be options out there.
That's a lot of talent, by the way. San Francisco's losing, possibly
Yeah.
losing Arik Armstead. They may have to trade Ayuk as well. It's the last
They-
year, basically, that
Right.
they'll have Purdy on the cheap as well, because then if they're going to have to make a big time decision on him as well.
So they do. They need to address the position. They definitely need to address the position at some point down the line before the draft. But I don't think it's necessarily an end-all be-all with Ridley. I mean, they've kicked the tires on the guys out in LA too. That's a Herald report today. Now, I don't really want them to bring in Mike Williams. I know I heard you float that last night, Fitzy.
I had that last night.
Yeah,
I had that before the Herald last night on a good source. I had a Twix birdie let me know a couple of things. Now, to me, if Mike Williams is due $17 million this year, but has the injury history of JD Drew multiplied by Danny Amendola, I'm not offering very much. I might take the 6th that I got for Mac Jones and then say, all right, San Diego, basically I'm doing Mac Jones for Mike Williams. When the guy is healthy, he is borderline elite. He's a big dude, long strides, very fast, good hands. It's just that he's just injury prone. But if you're if you're in a reset season where you need to try to give players developing around him a chance to open up some space and learn the game and provide a big, tall target for your bridge quarterback and maybe Drake May as well, how does a 6 for Mike Williams for a year do you wrong? I think they'd be willing to part ways with Mike Williams too before Keenan Allen. Something about Keenan Allen's ability and work ethic and consistency strikes me as more Harbaugh-esque. I mean, they're already getting the fragile guy. Like, they got Eckler out of there already. They bring in the Gus bus. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Williams is gone. And I already told you, bet the house, the family, and the farm on Harbaugh drafting Corum.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder about a 6-rounder, honestly, for Williams. Like, I don't really want to have to take on $17 million. I know you have the cap space, and I know it's going to be a 1-year shot, right? It's the 1 year, $17 million. He's going to be your bridge wide receiver to whoever you ultimately take in the draft, because you're going to need a guy for your rookie quarterback to be able to throw to. But is Mike Williams going to be able to stay on the field? That's the biggest issue for me. I don't want him eating $17 million in my cap, even if it's going to only cost you a 6th-round pick. I'm with you. I would definitely go for Keenan Allen, who's been, he's older. I think he's 2 years older, but he's been much more consistent, 1,000 yards.
He's a clinician seasons. When he's healthy. He's like, and he busted out. Where did his old man strength season come from last year? Like, out of the blue at age 34, dude was out there just raking in receptions.
That's what I'm saying. So if they're going to go with someone from LA, I'm definitely going Keenan Allen.
I would wonder what he might cost you, like a 5th, because he might. What has he got? A year or 2 left in the league, maybe,
probably. But still, I'd take it. They need to address the position, like I said, with more than what they've done, because there is this notion now that they're running it back with the 4-13 team. I push back on that because they're running it back with the good players from the 4-13 team, and you already said it. Like, they're not
exactly.
They're not bringing back the quarterback. They don't have the offensive coordinator, who I like Bill O'Brien. It wasn't great from his end either last year. They get rid of Devontae Parker, addition by subtraction, who's a guy who, in my opinion, did not fit the room, did not fit the culture, did not fit the vibe. They bring back Kendrick Bourne. They bring back Hunter Henry. These are the good pieces. Now you fill out the rest with external guys. Again, it's 6:20 on Tuesday. It's still not even legal to sign guys. You got to pump the brakes, have cautious optimism, and go from there. But long story short, you do need to address. If they don't address wide receiver, then we're going to have a problem.
All right, Mike, can you please address, or rather see if you can provide a reasonable answer to a number of people in our live chat right now here on Six Rings, reacting to day 2 free agency. What would it cost to acquire T. Higgins, both in terms of draft compensation and then ultimately a contract?
Yeah. Compensation, it's going to be at least pick 34, if not pick 34, and then like maybe a future second. I don't think he's going to cost 30. I don't think he's going to cost 34 and a first. Like, I think that's pretty crazy. But it's going to be at least pick 34 and then some change. And that's going to be too much if you have to give up a 1st-round pick. But as far as a contract, like Calvin Ridley, and I have a feeling he's going to go for 18 to 19 when it's all said and done per year.
That's bananas.
Does Higgins go closer to 20, 25, like that doesn't shock me. And so,
I think he'd be 4 for. I think I think it opens at 4 for 90.
yeah, right. And so that's tough. Like but again, it's worth it to me. Like those are the deals you have to make. Like, and I get, you know what? Frankly, I don't get the pushback. You have the cap space, guys. You got to pay good players good money, and he's going to cost that, and that's okay. He's going to be he's only 25 years old. He's going to be your X receiver for the next five years, hopefully 5-10 years if
Okay.
you pair
All
him
right,
with the right
Xavier.
guy.
All right. So proven guy that cost you the second round pick and then $100 million, or you take a flyer on the guy that could be the next Debo, something that the previous establishment kind of effed up 5 years ago, in like a Xavier Legette at 34.
I'm taking T. Higgins. I'm paying the money now. I'm doing it. Yeah.
Wow.
I want to pair my rookie quarterback with a proven target. You still have Kendrick Bourne and Demario Douglas as your 2s and 3s.
Mhm.
Juju maybe, and again, I'm not going to sit here and tout Juju like I did a year ago. That was fool's gold. But you're going to have some other guys in the room if you can bring in a number 1 with Higgins, and you can still draft a guy at 68 or the following pick and have a developmental guy. I'm going with the proven commodity. I see you're not. You're going with Xavier Leggett.
No. I want the young guy. I want Adonai Mitchell. I want Lad McConkey. I want Xavier Legette as well. Like the dude tested through the roof at the combine.
Yeah.
I think T. Higgins is a solid number 2 receiver. Obviously, he's a 2 when you're opposite one of the 5 best receivers in the league. And if reports are true today that Justin Jefferson turned down 30 million plus per season, as Schefter reported on ESPN, then Jamar Chase is going to be looking for that as well. And you're not going to be able to pay Burrow and keep up the defense and beef up the line and pay Jamar Chase. So they'll have to ditch T. Higgins. But isn't there a chance that he could just be like a slightly better Devontae Parker 2 years from now, as opposed to like somebody who's a legitimate explosive option that does a lot for your offense?
I don't hate the comparison outside of the attitude issues I've had with Parker, but I want AD Mitchell too. I like him. I want everybody, frankly, but I don't hate the Parker comparison as far as the way they play. Like peak Devontae Parker is what you're probably going to get with T. Higgins on a more consistent basis, but peak Devontae Parker was 1,000-yard, like 11 touchdown receiver in Miami a couple of years. So he's okay. That's good enough, and I think that's worth the money if you're going to have to pay it somewhere. So again, that's my take on the receiver. But I can see wanting to go through the draft too, and I think resetting the front office is going to help that a lot because there's the notion that the Patriots can't draft wide receivers, but get Elliott Wolf in there and get Alonzo Highsmith in there, and you might have something else. You might have that change a little bit through.
All right. Tom is watching on Twitter. He says, okay, hear me out. We're always here for this. We play radio, even on a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Sign Hollywood Brown, draft J.J. McCarthy, and Marvin Harrison Jr. All right. Now, I got to say, Tom, I'm not sure about Hollywood Brown. Never been a big fan as well. I know he had some hits at times with the Cardinals, but by and large, his career has been an injured miss. And boy, did the Ravens fleece the Cardinals for a first on that dude.
Yeah.
If you're getting J.J. McCarthy, you're probably going to get him by trading out of the 3 spot back to the later part of the first 10 to 12 picks. He's going to go way earlier than people expect. At which point you're not going to be able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's going to be, you'd have to get J.J. McCarthy and then hope that maybe you could get another one of these better receivers like late in the first round or early second round. But I just don't see that playing out.
And I've warmed up to McCarthy a little bit since the end of the season, and he's that guy who every year there's one quarterback who, the farther away they get from playing actual football, the higher their draft stock goes. That's been JJ McCarthy, and I don't disagree with it. Like you see some of his plays on tape, and he's actually he can stand in the pocket, he can take hits. He's got a rocket arm. You saw him; he tested well at the combine. He threw okay at the combine, and so I'm warming up to JJ McCarthy. But if you have pick 3 and you're looking for a rookie quarterback, I say you take one there. I don't think you try and finagle anything and take one of the second level guys. I just don't.
Ooh, boy, we got some breaking news. It is not a new Patriot. It is a big splash signing, though. The top remaining defensive player on the free agent market has selected his new home. The Houston Texans, they got them a nasty-ass pass rush. Danielle Hunter is leaving Minnesota and has taken his talents down to the Houston Texans. No terms yet on the deal.
I got 2 years, 49. That's from Rappaport. 2 years,
Is that
49
that's
million.
probably guaranteed too, I bet.
48 million fully guaranteed.
Ooh, man.
A
Oh, man,
max
that would
total
be
of
nice.
51. So he's getting a lot of cash.
That is plenty of cash to burn, especially someplace where there is no state income tax.
Yeah,
That
that's
goes a
true.
long, long way. Wow. That is a tremendous signing. Big old signing for the Texans as well.
The
Now,
Texans
who do you
are going to be pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Who they get? Did they get Mixon?
Yes. Yep. They got
Yeah,
Joe Mixon.
he's got a year or two left on those tires. I think that's a great. Texans are going to be solid this year. Actually,
Yeah.
believe it or not, the AFC South is going to be super interesting.
Yeah. No, it is.
He's going to be super, super,
Yeah,
super
with Kirk
interesting.
Cousins down there too and everything. Yeah, for sure. So we
Don't
also have a
forget,
little bit of an update. Go ahead.
Ooh, I was going to
It's
say,
just
don't forget your boy Gesicki going to the
Yeah,
Bengals.
he's gonna go to Cincy and he's gonna catch 12 touchdowns this year. Man, I'm never gonna live that down.
We'll catch up with the AFC North in a second. That's fine. Go ahead. What's your update, bud?
No, it's a little bit of an update, I guess, on Calvin Ridley. It's not really an update, but Josina Anderson, who earlier reported that the Patriots have an offer on the table with Ridley, confirms that the Patriots are still opting to keep the offer on the table at this time. So they haven't upped the offer. They haven't pulled it back. They're basically still just waiting for Ridley's answer. So again, it feels not really an update, but they're still waiting for an answer. And I think he's going to, like we said earlier, he's going to wait this thing out till 4 p.m. on Wednesday.
Okay, here's a Shefty update from a little less than an hour ago. Former Patriot safety Jalen Mills has reached agreement on a one-year deal with the Giants. So the Green Goblin, who used to play for the Eagles, came to New England for 4 years. He is Dunsky in Foxborough, now taking his talents to North Jersey. However, one New England Patriot defender did decide to remain in Foxborough for at least one more season, likely to try and up his value next season, since he wasn't really getting much money, nor was there much of a market for him. Some say he's a one-trick pony. I particularly like that trick because it's rushing the quarterback and sometimes sacking him. Josh Uche returns on a one-year, $3 million deal, but also of import on that, Mike, is the idea that the Patriots, for the first time since blank, I'm going to let you guess, or maybe some of the people in the chat right now watching.
I know the answer, so we can let the chat go if they know it.
Okay. So Josh Uche becomes the first player since blank to sign a second contract for the New England Patriots, having been drafted in the first 3 rounds. 10 years since a player drafted by the Patriots in the first, second, or third round actually signed an extension. Now, granted, this is only a one-year, $3 million deal for Uche, so it's not like a massive deal like Big Mike's 3-year, $57 million deal that he signed last night with the Patriots. But it's a good sign. It's a good, I'll take it. I'll take it. They're going to be all defense and running this year, Mike. So I think it's a good one. And congratulations, Jordan Ortega. The answer is Daron Harmon.
So I love the Uche signing. Like, again, it's only 1 year, which is tough because you want to keep him around, but it's $3 million. We just saw a pass rusher go for $25 million a year, Fitzy, and Danielle Hunter. And you get Josh Uche for a maximum of 8. And are they the same caliber player? Of course not. I'm not going to try and sit here and tell you that. But a guy who took a hometown discount, according to multiple reports, he had money, a lot more money elsewhere, and he decided to come back. 2 years ago, 11.5 sacks alongside Matthew Judon. He's a 2. Like, he's a second tier pass rusher on a team. And if you can partner him up with a guy like Matthew Judon, or, whatever you do after Judon, if he doesn't re-sign next year and you keep Uche around, if Judon's healthy, Uche's going to be good again. They're going to use him correctly. You keep his linebackers coach around at Gerard Mayo. You have him back. Right. He wanted to play here. It's easy money. It's cheap money. It doesn't cost them anything. I think it's perfect. Like, it's the perfect hometown discount type of player that, they kind of got Onwenu for a discount. They kind of got Bourne for a discount. Now you get Uche for a major discount. They've retained their own players, and they've done it in a great way.
They haven't overpaid for anybody yet. Like, Onwenu came to close to top of market. That was an Onwenu for the Patriots. You've already got Matthew Judon at a lower price as well. I think Dietrich is a consistently underrated force on the other side. You can always go into a season knowing that he's going to be a locker room presence. So he's a great guy, one of the last ones to win a Super Bowl. 6 to 8 sacks, good run stuffer. The defensive line is going to be a force. Keon White in his second season should make some strides as well. And now you get Uche, who's dying to try to get one of these ridiculous deals
Right.
He's never going to get a Hunter deal, or was it Greenbaum, the other guy that left the Texans and went to Minnesota?
Jonathan
Basically,
Grenard. Yeah.
Grenard. So basically the Texans and the Vikings, Skull and the Horns
Oh, yeah.
decided to just swap defensive ends in a lot of ways.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Minnesota went younger, and the Texans went with somebody that they're trying to get after because they're legitimately trying to press now. That's what you do. Your rookie quarterback last year balled out. He showed up and showed out, and now you've got a clock set before he's supposed to get his massive deal. Now is when you go get pieces and try to make a run, especially if you're in a topsy-turvy AFC South. What did you think also of Derrick Henry to the Ravens?
So I've always been a anti-running back second contract guy. I think they're turnstiles, and I don't really like it. Again, guys should get their money. If you can get the contract, go get it. I'm not sitting here and saying they shouldn't take it, but from a management standpoint, their shelf life is so small. So I never really liked them, but there's obviously different circumstances, right? I think for the Patriots, bringing in Antonio Gibson for cheap, that's perfect. The Ravens, so do I. The Ravens bringing in Derrick Henry for $8 million a year, so it's a good chunk of change for running backs. But to pair him with Lamar Jackson in that backfield makes a ton of sense. Again, a team that's ready to win now, like the Texans are doing, and going to get guys now with Joe Mixon.
Yeah, and you tell the Todd Monken this time, if you're in the AFC Championship, don't get away from the run game.
Exactly.
Drop the hammer. Run Derrick Henry, run King Henry up the gut. Find ways to make it happen.
Yeah, that's a great move for Baltimore. He still has gas left in the tank, and they're just going to run the crap out of that ball in that backfield, and that's going to be a scary sight in the AFC North.
Miami Dolphins defense, or just their roster, has been savaged a tad for the first couple of days of free agency, but they just staying in the AFC East. One of the most sensitive players in the entire NFL, Jordan Poyer, signs with the Dolphins. Good for him. Here's a good question, Mike.
Sure.
Before we get to today's the pro day, the throw day from Bo Nix, where does Marte Mapu fit in this season? Does he have a future here? I think so. I just think this is going to take some seriously good coaching from Mayo, from Covington. Everyone's going to have to help this kid figure out what to do because he's got physical skills off the charts, but he doesn't have maybe this is someone who can learn from Sione Takitaki.
Yes. Yep. That's 100%. And when they got rid of Mac Wilson, and I guess it's a little bit different because Mac Wilson is a guy who's fringe pass rusher and linebacker, where these two Takitaki and Mapu are sort of fringe linebacker safeties, but same type deal where you're a hybrid player. Play behind Takitaki, play with him. Like they're gonna find a spot for Mapu. There's nothing to worry about there, in my opinion. I think he showed flashes last year. There wasn't really a place for him. They're gonna develop him. You mentioned it. You keep around Gerard Mayo, a guy who can put him in the right spot. There's no way you should be giving up on Marte Mapu yet. That kid can play.
No.
He's gonna make plays.
It's gonna take time. He's one of those things where, like, a baby horse does not become a thoroughbred in its first couple of weeks. Like, it's got to figure out how to walk. It's adapting to a new game. Give him some time. I think he does give
Taki vibes though, with the higher ceilings. I think, and maybe just a higher ceiling because we've seen.
That's the way the defenses are going now. And by the way, Mike, I bet you feel the same way. But I just feel like, okay, yes, he may have been overdrafted. That's fine. But at the same time, when you've got the Kuipers and the Jeremiahs going 6 to midnight on their respective football channel broadcasts over Mapu, I'll take it. And I know 100%. That scares some people, but that's fine by me. I think this defense. Again, that's what I said at the top of the podcast in case anyone just joined in late. I think the Patriots are doing a lot of really, really good things right now to improve upon last year, provided that those guys are healthy. You're not keeping a 4-13 team. You don't have the dysfunction in the front office. You don't have a coach that's unhappy because he feels like he's getting railroaded. You don't have a quarterback who throws the ball as often to the other team as he does his own. And hopefully you get healthier on the offense and you have a good draft. It's just a solid. I just need a B or a B+ in free agency. Right. And then you get an A in the draft. And this team, the battle for respectability, the climb to 9-8 is legit.
Right.
Yes,
exactly. Get a quarterback in here with some hope like you had with Mac Jones early. Show some flashes year 1, recoup again year 2, and go from there. Look at the Texans. Think about what the Texans did. Like, we've used them 3 or 4 times here now, but the Texans were a trash can 2 years ago. They get
Right.
CJ Stroud, they hit on him, and now they're going balls to the wall with guys like Danielle Hunter and Joe Mixon because they want to win now. You get a guy like that, you can do the same exact thing here. So things can turn over quickly. And I don't think they should be going for a quick turnover. I think they need to sustain a longer rebuild in that Packer way that they talk about. But you can hit fast, especially with a quarterback. So again, I like the moves they made so far are solid in my opinion. You have Hunter Henry and Kendrick Bourne around for 3 more years. Like that works for me.
2 guys that everyone on the team loves, the fans love too. Solid signings, and letting Gesicki go, just like Devontae Parker. Sorry, it's
Yes.
addition by subtraction. I'm with Salty Grandpa 2367. I'm sorry, Salty Grandpa 2366 was taken. The best thing they could do is go for a left tackle. Couldn't agree more. I don't know where the Tyron Smith market is right now or the Jonah Williams market, but I'm in on him. That's where no one ever said, boy, this team is going to shit the bed this year because they have too many really good tackles. There's no such thing in the modern NFL. Sorry, that doesn't exist. I would absolutely love to see them sign these guys. Yes.
And that's a market that I wouldn't freak out about yet if I'm a fan, because that's what the silence on Jonah. Sometimes the market just breaks late, right? Like, you see a running back go, and then all of a sudden 3 running backs go, or you see a quarterback go, and then 3 more. Like somebody sets the market. It has to happen eventually. The only left tackle move that's happened, I believe, is Deion Dawkins restructuring in Buffalo. So that wasn't even really a free agency move, right? So
that was an interesting scenario,
awesome.
Mike, because he tweets out like, hey, is it time for me to start liking ranch? It's been real Buffalo, making everyone think that he's leaving town. And then 3 minutes later, the freaking guy signs a 3-year, $60 million deal.
Yeah, he was trolling. He's a hilarious dude. So he kept that up with that one. Yeah, but no, so long story short, let the tackle market happen. I like the idea of Tyron Smith. I really like the idea of Jonah Williams too. Tyron Smith is going to be a bridge, I would think. You maybe take Tyron Smith and then draft one, let him play a year, maybe 2, and then you develop the other guy. Jonah Williams would be more plug and play and is more long-term-ish at the left side. So.
Yeah, no, it would be as well. Do you think I'd read something where the Patriots might think that a core 4 might be able to fill in at left tackle while they draft somebody and get them ready at the pro level?
Yeah,
I don't want to make him switch. He likes the right. He's good over there.
I don't like
make him a swing.
He's played 2 snaps at left tackle in the NFL. And that was Doug Kyde from the Herald who reported that. And Taylor Kyles had mentioned that he could see that happening before Doug reported it. But and maybe they think that. I just think it's a bad idea. Keep him where he's comfortable. Don't try and turn a right tackle into a left tackle. That's another patchwork involvement / scenario for the Patriots that I don't want them to go down. I want them to get a left tackle, play him a left tackle, and make that happen.
Listen, Pat Stats watching live on YouTube. Tyron is 33. I know, but he still plays at a very high level. And last year, yes, with Dallas, he had to take load management Wednesdays, which is fine by me. Maybe the rookie that they draft can get some reps in there, but you bring Big Bad Tyron out on Sundays. I think it'd be a solid addition as well. All right, last thing here on the Day 2 Free Agency Reaction Pod with Fitzy and Kadlick. I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to catch any of this today, but Bo Nix was more like Throw Nix today at his pro day. Take a look at these. For a guy who supposedly only throws outs, checkdowns, and slants, he was displaying a pretty slick deep ball. And you can't see it because our faces are in front of it on the live broadcast, but trust us, this is an elite pass. Oh, damn it. You couldn't see it. All right. Anyway. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Oh, I know what I did. I screwed up. Anyway. So basically what happened was Bo Nix had his pro day. I'll have this for you in a second, viewers. So Bo Nix has his pro day today. And, I wouldn't say puts on like a show or anything, but he looks really. All right, here's the throw I was talking about. Now, Mike, like you said, it's shorts and shells. It's just he's throwing it. He's got air defenders as well. But that was an easy 60 in the bucket to Troy Franklin as well. Looks pretty solid. I know a lot of guys can do that. Joe Milton could do the same. He threw it 75 yards at the combine a few weeks ago. That doesn't mean he's going to get overdrafted, but just tell me, for guys like myself and Rich Keefe, who kind of like Bo Nix and think like this, the Homelander dude who's already 30 and has started 10,000 college games could be a serviceable NFL quarterback, if not a plus level starter. What is it that we're missing? Why are people so out on this guy?
I keep getting looped in with you and Keith by Andy. Andy keeps telling me, "Oh yeah, all you people like Bo Nix," and I'm like, "I'm not a Bo Nix guy. That's Fitzy and Keith that keep touting him." But Andy can't tell who if he works with me, you, or Keith on the same day. He loops us into the same person. But
All right, so yeah,
no,
Joey Jaguar says it's another Zach Wilson, and here we go. This is my favorite comment. Jeff Stenberg, I IDGAF about the underwear Olympics doesn't replicate game action. Jamarcus Russell made the same throw. All right, fair enough.
So my thing on Nix is he was really, really bad at playing quarterback when he was at Auburn. Like a very objectively a bad player. His dad went to Auburn. He was supposed to be the Auburn kid, the next Tiger, follow his father's footsteps, and he literally had to transfer out because he couldn't play football. Now, granted, he goes to Oregon. That system fits him well, and you talked about it, check down king, slant king, and even when he hit Troy Franklin in games, he was pretty much wide open. So the system worked very well to his skill set. I just want to see him. I almost wish he hit a little bit more, adversity when he's at Oregon, because they made it too easy. And did he make the most of it? Of course he did. He threw for like 4,000 yards, 45 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like he did what he was supposed to. I just don't necessarily see it translating to the NFL. I hope I'm wrong if they bring him here. Don't get me wrong. Objectively, I'll root for Bo Nix. I just don't see it. I like guys like Michael Penix and JJ McCarthy in that second tier. I like them better than Bo Nix.
Now, see, I disagree, Amstel 54. I don't think he throws a soft pass like Mac. I think he's got much more arm. Mac Jones always had a Pennington-esque motion and velocity on his passes as well. I think Nix has bulked up a little bit too.
Yeah,
he may end up being a second or a third rounder. Yeah,
right. He had a good day today. I'm not going to take that away from him. He had a good day. The Patriots had a contingent out there. Quarterbacks coach TC McCartney was there. Director of college scouting Cameron Williams was there, and a couple other guys. So they're doing their homework on him. We'll see what happens. Again, could it happen for him? Sure. I'm just not huge on Nix, but I'm not going to sit here and yell at guys who are high on him, right? Because that's your opinion. And objectively, he played well. So I can't take that away from him.
All right. I guess that about wraps up everything else. Any other final thoughts from day 2? We covered Derrick Henry and the big signings across the league. We broke some news with Poyer, Danielle Hunter, Calvin Ridley dragging his feet, likely to stay in no Taxonville. Chargers people could be of interest to the Patriots for the right price. Fare thee well, Gesicki, Josh Uche, not Josh, and he's back for a single year for just $3 million. We love that deal. Pat's defense going to ball out this year. Bo Nix had his pro day. Many more to come that we will have our eyes on in Patriots Nation. Final thoughts, Mike?
Yep. What I'll say is tomorrow is the official opening of the league year. So some more moves will become official. Some more teams will, make cuts, make trades, make moves and things like that. So there's a lot more to come. And the other thing I'll say too, Fitzy, and I did this with Andy last night, is we have 3,500 people watching the stream right now on various platforms. Mm-hmm. If you like it, if you want to keep coming, subscribe to Six Rings Pod. Subscribe to the Six Rings Podcast on the Odyssey app, wherever you got your podcasts, and follow along on Twitter at Six Rings Pod, because we're gonna keep you updated all season long with all the Patriots stuff. So,
boy, howdy,
follow along.
Absolutely, he is Captain Optimistic. I am the Foxborough fanboy at Fitzy GFY, otherwise known as Calvin Ridley's agent. You can follow him at Mike Kadlick, and Andy Hart at Jumbo Hart is currently on the airwaves. So if you want to continue the conversation or listen to more sports talk, you can head on over to 93.7 FM WEEI or WEEI on the Odyssey app, or you can say, "Hey Alexa, play WEEI," and then you'll get our fabulous sports radio station. We'll try to keep these live broadcasts up. It's great engaging with you guys, the good people of Patriots Nation and One Patriot Place. For Kadlick, this is Fitzy. Thanks for tuning in to our Day 2 reaction to free agency 2024 on the Six Rings and Football Things podcast. We'll talk to you soon. Good day. God bless. F them all, like Brady says. And of course, go Pats.
FEA, baby.